in difficult times you felt very backed and supported by the hierarchy, the outside noise, it's all questioning whether that's the case or not, but your consistent message is you felt backed. Does the transfer business that the club have shown so far, selling Brennan Johnson, signing Conor Gallagher, even bringing in Johnny Heitinga, is that evidence of them supporting your vision?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a very good sign of it. To sign, we know January is a tricky window to sign a quality player like Conor. I think it's a great sign of that. Also to sign John Heitinga, that I think is a very skillful coach, that he believes in the project and the vision from the club, in a moment where from the outside doesn't look as smooth, but from the inside looks a little bit more positive. But of course I'm very aware that we need even more consistent performances and a better result. I think it's a sign of that. Tottenham have so much to offer. I think some of the appointments we have done on the leadership, on the ball, with Rafi coming in as well, I think it's very positive of what kind of direction you want to go in.
Just on Conor, I mean, he's got this amazing record where I don't think he's ever been injured, which is really hard to believe that he's mentally 60-odd game, but it seems like it's true. Cue the Spurs fans instantly going, "Oh, Tottenham and Drew Curse is going to strike." I mean, how much was his availability, fitness levels, amazing fitness levels, a factor in signing?
Yeah, I don't think there's rocket science. I think a lot of clubs want to do that, but I think a couple of things you look at when you want to sign a player. You want, of course, key abilities that fit in the role you're looking for. Let's say an 8 position, you want a pressing player, arriving in box-to-box midfielder, technical abilities, scoring goals, whatever it is. Then you always like to have a 10 out of 10 character. And of course, robustness is also a key area. And he ticks, I think, all 3 boxes in what we want. Touch wood. No, I'm not worried.
just lastly, we talked about Nuno earlier. He obviously had a relatively short spell here. One of the things that he seemed from the outside to have a slight issue with was connecting with fans. How conscious are you of having that connection with supporters? How important is that for a head coach to have to the fans?
Of course, it's important. I think it's very important. I think connecting is a key. I think I'm quite good connecting with people, actually. So that's one thing. But also know in football there's one way of connecting. That is winning. So when we start winning enough, and we also start I can create even more chances than we have done, which I'm not in doubt of. There is sign in the right direction of that. Then I'm quite convinced we will connect better and better. Not in doubt that. I know, and I have no problem connecting with the fans. Every fan I meet, everyone that approach me is lovely, open-minded, positive. I know this. You can say it's not as easy to connect after a game if you lose and don't play that well. So. All the interaction I have with Spurs fans have been top. I cannot praise them enough. I know they're super, super important for us. The thing we like to create together is, for example, unbelievable fortress at home. And when the fans are believing, backing us, doing everything they can, plus we need to perform, of course, then it's a fantastic feeling.
Alice.
Hi, Thomas. I think you mentioned, obviously, Johnny Heitinga was a centre-back, and I think you've said that one of his primary responsibilities is to be helping the team on the defensive side. But I think he was also credited while at Liverpool with helping players like Ryan Gravenberch and through as a number 6. And obviously a lot of young kind of midfield players here as well. You encouraged and excited about how he can help the team in not just the defensive aspect, but around the team defence.
Definitely, I think it's just, when we split the responsibility to the 3 main assistant coaches I got in Andreas, Justin, and now John, it's like defensively, offensively, and set pieces. but all three have responsible for the overall team, all have responsible for the overall team game plan, overall principles, and the one-to-one interaction with players is one of John's key strengths. He's very good to connect, and he's also very good and direct.
And I'm not sure you're aware, but there are some process plans before the game. A couple of the listed reasons for the process were transfer strategy and clarity on director of football. Obviously, you're active in the transfer window, just brought Gallagher in, and then I suppose a little bit more clarity on the sporting director role now that we know that Krashy is leaving for Fiorentina. Do you think that'll be a step in the right direction in terms of addressing some of those concerns from the founders?
I think, in terms of, you said the transfer direction, or what did you say?
Transfer
strategy. Yeah. No, I think we can only prove that by good signings and doing things the right way. And if someone is negative and there's a bad history or whatever it is, the only way we can prove it is by changing it. Of course, I can sit up and I can talk a lot, but we need to show it by actions. And that's what we're doing. And I just say behind the scenes, the strategy, the structure, the process in place looks good and looks like the real thing. But we need to just show it consistently. I think the Conor Gallagher signing was a good step in the right direction.
There's a little bit off topic, but I don't know if you saw midweek the Man City Newcastle game and issues with VAR with Semenyo's goal. Guardiola spoke at the end of the game about his frustration with it. I'm not sure we've heard from you actually. How do you feel about VAR, and if there's anything that you change about what would it be?
I think I'm quite pragmatic, so the VAR will not go away. We need to live with it and embrace it. But we also need to improve it as good as possible. Of course, for whatever reason, 6 minutes is too long. It must be. And unfortunately, again, nothing is black and white. It should almost be a rule that after a certain amount of time, the on-field decision is the right one. And then the next question coming into our mind, if it's a clearly technical issue, so the automatic offside is whatever wrong, and then you have another problem. But you need to also back the on-pitch refereeing. Welcome, Dave. Okay.
I think we can all feel this apprehension around this West Ham game. Fans, whoever's obviously, I know you're not plugged into the media, but there's a lot of noise around this game. I just wanted to ask how you take steps to ensure that the players aren't undermined by fear, essentially.
I think the best way, no matter what type of game you play, is to focus on the game plan, focus on your role, have clear strategies of coming back to that if you, lose confidence or whatever. Yeah, exactly. So keep doing the same. What I liked, and I think and that's why I'm saying, again, not everything is perfect, but there's been some games in the season where we're not going to plan, where we looked very open or very not in sync. That's why I'm thinking that's why I'm referring to the last 6 games. Much more clear what we want to do, much more in the right direction. Then it can be good performance or average plus performance or whatever. And that those minutes we need to put together so we play as many as possible, preferably 90 minutes. And again, the 2 good response from Bournemouth Villa is a sign that I'm sure they can cope with that if that should happen. The plan is to perform well and not going down 1-0 and just take it from the top. That would be nice.
And in terms of the kind of attacking issues, which we all know need to improve, I think that would definitely help the fans rally behind the team. Well, I don't know if you accept that. But my question is, are you looking at the data and statistics to kind of identify areas of concern or areas where you feel you can get?
Yeah. So, we of course analyze every single game, looking with my own eyes and with the whole team behind it in what we would like to achieve. And then sometimes you need the stats as well, because you get some stats. For example, the deep run stats. we were bottom of that in the league, and that's a key thing. You need to run in behind if you want to score goals. That's a little bit down to types. That's a little bit down, of course, to training to enforce the message. And since that, the last 7-8 games, something like that, we gradually improved it more and more. So we have much more deep runs, and from being very low, now we are gradually moving up. So that's a key theme for us, that we keep doing that, because if you run behind and you play behind, you can score goals, and that's not necessarily a 60-yard pass. That can be a 10-yard pass. That can be everything. So that's the big thing. That's a big thing of scoring goals. So, for example, that's a way to use the stats. And then, of course, it's keep working with our young players in Matty Tell and then Wilson to make them being more consistent, taking more of the right decisions. Kolo, I think he scored a great goal. Unfortunately, it was half a yard offside. Hopefully that gives him a little bit of confidence. Work very hard on that. Xavi, I think, looks better and better. The way he took the game in second half, I like that. So those are the 4 you can say right now we are relying on. And it's, I think Matty is great signs. I think now Wilson scored, hopefully Kolo. So that hopefully help in that sense. And then Dom is coming back.
Just one for me. Again, another statistic, which I know, I'm sure you put a lot of store by, but his turnovers that you forced him high up, and which lead to shots or chances. Again, very low down on those methods. I don't know if that's something
that we are turning into chances, or we are winning the ball high.
Maybe not forcing turnovers high up.
Oh, I think we are quite good at that, actually.
But leading to shots and chances.
I know we win it high. We're one of the best in the league. And then I don't know if there's a stat on that if you're leading to chances. But I just know, for example, the Villa game, I think 4 or 5 of our chances came from winning the ball high. So the goal was, for example, a counter press from Kolo, winning the ball, driving, playing Wilson.
League numbers here, actually, so.
No, yeah, but also the Premier League numbers. I know we are good at winning it high. Maybe we don't score or create enough chances. That I don't know. Yeah, Craig. Yeah.
Hi Thomas, I sat with you in the summer in Seoul, and if you remember, upstairs, and very nice it was too. That day there was a lot of enthusiasm, there was a lot of optimism with the season ahead. So I just ask, what would the Thomas Frank of today, what would you go back to tell Thomas Frank of July? What advice or what warnings would you give him on now?
That's a good question. I think I've been pretty clear that it would not be straightforward the first year. In many ways, it's just not to talk too much about last season, but I think it's fair to say we are a bit of a transitional season, but in transitional season where we still need to perform. I still think we perform a bit better to where we are, but also I think a bit of the offensive play is the thing that I probably look back and say, please don't get Dom and Madison and Kulusevski injured.
Is that possible?
No, not possible.
When we spoke to you that day, you actually gave a lot of insight into you, the man behind the manager. You spoke about your reading, your podcasts, your partying, enjoying a beer. Does that Thomas Frank exist now? Hasn't existed since that day?
Still try to read half an hour every night. I think it's good to calm my head down. So there's a lot of thoughts in there in terms of try constantly improving and turning the corner. Still also listen to podcasts, still do, I would say, enough exercises, but sometimes it could be a little bit more to make sure, get a clear mind. But there's not been a lot of time to do a lot of other stuff, but that I knew would be very limited, especially the first year. And that's just natural, walking into a new club, walking into a lot of people you need to know, want to both change and improve and do things in the right way. That just demands a lot of time.
what are you reading? Is it all the coverage from these guys?
No, that's probably that's more fiction. I'm reading a Dan Brown book, the latest one at the moment. It's quite good, actually. Yeah, yeah, but I think it's about Da Vinci. What do you call it?
Da Vinci Code.
Yeah, Da Vinci Code. Thank you. That was I read that one, so now it's the new one. So it's about similar plot, just in Prague. So very good.
Trying to find the Thomas Frank quote.
Yeah.
So, can I just ask you as well, just lastly, you spoke really warmly about your children during the summer as well. How have they been during this period? You said you never got a word in with them. So what have they been saying to you, and how have they helped you during what's been a difficult period the last month or so?
I would say, of course, when your 3 children is living in Denmark, you don't see them as much. They are old, 23, 22, 19, so they're living their own life, and my 2 daughters, they don't see much football, so rather they ask, how are you? I don't think you know their games. Sometimes they do. There's a little bit more focus now, to be fair, and my son is following a lot, and I speak with him about it a lot.
Thank you, Thomas.
You're welcome.
Right, Thomas. We've spoken a lot about change to the hierarchy of incomings and outgoings, but how do you make sure all that change doesn't impact you negatively and cause any instability, especially that time when you say you're still trying to get to know everyone?
I think Vinay has been exceptionally good to make that how can you say tick together with Johan and Fabio, because there's some of the new appointments, of course, is I still have a touch point with them, but I'm probably not the go-to first all the time. We just make sure that all their roles are aligned, and all the great work they do is for benefit of the club and improving it in the long term.
And what would you say kind of the most important qualities are for a football hierarchy? Is it whether that's one person is a hierarchy or the others?
I think if you say the leadership on top, I think a couple of things: clear strategy, make sure we're all aligned, be calm, take sensible decisions.
And with Fabio, obviously the club at the end of the month, or really important month for the club in the transfer market, potentially. Just how do you make sure his impending departure doesn't impact any plans for January?
But I think everything negotiated, of course, between Fabio and Vinay. Fabio, I spoke to him yesterday. So he's working very hard to make sure all his task is finished well and with top quality for Tottenham before he leaves. Welcome.
Finish with George, please.
Thomas, you spoke a lot about the kind of style of play and creating more chances. I guess with Conor, how does he help you do that?
I think he's very good to end on chances, and also I think that to have a midfielder that can add with goals as well. I think it's a huge quality, because of course you always say that you need a striker that scored 20 plus goals, but in reality you just need enough goals in the team. And these days, also it can be a winger that is the top scorer. So to have a midfielder that I think can add a good amount of goals in a full season, I think is huge quality, and especially his ability to arrive in the box or in and around the box, either from where we're banking teams in or from high pressure situations or whatever we talk about. He's very good at that, and as I say, I think he's a clever finisher.
And what does his kind of signing do for Lucas Lobo and Archie Gregg, as people see their minutes maybe shrinking, but can those two learn a lot of someone like Conor Gallagher? Yeah,
I think no doubt about that. I think any club, you need enough competition and qualities. I think right now we swap Rodri for Gallagher. And before that, both Lucas and Archie played a lot of minutes. So they are still in a great development, and I think they're doing a lot of things right. There's not a lot of 19 years olds who play in the central midfield in the Premier League. So that talks a lot about their quality, but also a little about how rare it is.
And just finally, Dom Solanke we were back on the squad last week. Maybe you will see everyone was huge. What could he bring on the season really in favour? How can he really impact the way you're sort of playing? I guess getting playing better from that.
I think again, very unfortunate with Richie. I think he's done well. Someone told me that. I think 2 seasons ago was where there were 3 90 minutes he played. Last season it was 5 90 minutes. Now he played 12 games of 90 minutes. So he's done very well. And he also saw the stat of strikers in Premier League. Some Ikitike and Isaac and was it Waldemade? What was it from? Yeah, Brentford. Yeah, I can't remember. But the rest haven't scored that many goals. And of course, Jago scored a lot of goals there. But the others have scored around 5, 6, 7, 8 goals. And Richard 7 or 8. So he's done very well. But of course, Solanke, what he brings is his personality, is another voice in the changing room before game, on the pitch. I think his link up and hold up play is very good. He's good to come short or go in behind. He pressed very well, and I just think he's a top finisher.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you.